the other side, we need to find solutions for patients who have kidney failure and other organ failures. And these are, actual figures of almost 7.85 million people suffering from kidney disease, whether borderline or end stage. And of these, at least 210,000 every year do develop kidney disease. And against that, we only do 7,500 transplants. And these figures which you see, the dark blue bar is the bar. I mean, in the last 5 years, kidney transplant rate has doubled. It's not enough, but what you see here is the number of kidney transplants in our country is about 7,500. And 10% of these come from diseased donors. The little blue bar on the top indicates the diseased donors. It's a good sign to see that we are doing more and more kidney transplants, but we need to do more because we have such huge numbers. We also do, coming back to kidney transplant again, our requirement is of almost 175 per million population, but we only do less than about 6 per million population kidney transplants, so a long way to go. And so it is with liver transplants. These are liver transplant figures. They again have grown over the last 5-7 years, and today we do about 2,000 liver transplants in our country, and about 25% of those livers come from diseased donors. Rest comes from living donors. And so it is with heart transplants. We do about approximately 150 heart transplants every year in this country. If you look at the history of organ transplantation, first kidney transplant happened about in 1971. That is at Christian Medical College in Vellore. And after that, as Amit said, that it has gradually grown in numbers, and we are now doing close to, as I said, 7,500 to 8,000 kidney transplants every year. The first heart transplant was done in AIIMS in August 1994 by Dr. Venugopal. And the first liver transplant in our country, diseased donor liver transplant, was done in Apollo in 1995. So it's not very long since we started our transplant journey, especially the disease donation transplant journey in our country. But if you see in actual numbers, when you see per million, because we are a huge country, we don't do that many. But actually, when you see per numbers, then after US, as far as kidney transplant, living kidney transplant program is concerned, we do the highest numbers in the world. And after Korea, we do the highest number of living liver transplants in India. Our surgical skills have improved over the years, and we are getting better and better at it. We are taking a very minimally invasive approach towards taking out kidneys now. A person who has a kidney transplant usually gets 3 kidneys. They have their own kidneys, 2 kidneys, and we put another kidney in the lower down, on the right side. So they and sometimes end up with 3 kidneys. We don't take out the kidney from the donors, from the recipients usually. If you look at the eye donation program in this country, the corneal donation program is successful, and we do close to 25 per million corneal donation rate in the country against 0.5 per million donation rate of diseased donors. Every day, we have about 32 people donating their eyes in this country. So looking at this, I do have hope that someday we'll also have a lot of people donating their organs, and we will meet the demand to some extent. The law we've spoken about earlier was passed in 1994, and it was further changed in 2011, and West Bengal actually has adopted the new law. The law has just 2 basic, what you need to know about the law. 2 basic fundamentals which you need to know is that it accepts brain death as for organ donation and as form of death, and it makes commerce of organs a punishable offense. We today also have a national body called National Organ Tissue Transplant Organization in Delhi called NOTO, And under that, we have 5 regional organizations called ROTO, and Calcutta is one of the ROTOs in the 5 organizations. And each regional organization has different states under it. Like Calcutta is the regional organization. It has Orissa and Bihar as other states under which Calcutta will govern them and show them the way forward. The state level organizations, about 5 organizations have been identified. They are mostly AIIMS-like institute. It includes places like Jodhpur, Patna, Bhopal, Raipur. I don't know why they have done that, because only AIIMS Delhi does kidney transplants and other transplants. Other AIIMS don't do transplants. I don't know why government has chosen them as SOTOs. So we have a national body today, and Calcutta plays a very important role in the national body, being a regional kind of hub for transplantation. I was hoping that we would have people from ROTO here. I'm not sure if there is any representative, but Calcutta has a way to lead the other states. So it has, it really needs, and I think these kind of meetings are very important to make a, roadmap how Calcutta is going to take, West Bengal is going to take this forward. As I said, the law accepts brain death as a form of death, and the most common cause of brain death is road traffic accidents in our country, as Dr. Amit had said earlier. We have close to 160,000 people dying of road traffic, fatal road traffic accidents, who have, of these, about 67% have head injury, which means that almost about 90,000 people have head injury as a cause of death. And if we are able to take care, just get consent from those families, some of those families, we will have a lot of organs which could be generated. Brain death is a difficult concept to understand. I don't know how many of you understand actually what brain death is. Is there anyone who...
Come, let's have volunteers.
How many of you actually understood what brain death is?
No, not you. No, not the doctors.
Normally, the heart is the organ which pumps blood. And when the heart stops, we think we are dead. But when the heart stops, what happens is the blood supply to the brain stops. And if more than 5 minutes of blood supply to the brain is not there, then the brain doesn't get oxygen and glucose. And the nerve cells require oxygen and glucose more than any other cells in the body. And if they don't get these important oxygen and glucose, they die. So when the heart stops, after a little while, after 5 minutes, the circulation stops, so the brain doesn't get oxygen and glucose, that dies. And then that is what brain death is. But in certain situations, where there's hemorrhage within the brain, or if there's just cut off the blood supply of the brain due to stroke, then the brain goes dead, but the heart and lungs are kept going in an ICU by supports. So the heart and lungs are working, so the circulation is there, but the brain is not getting the blood supply. So your main nerve, your main kind of thinking, or your main organ is gone, which controls the whole body, and that is what brain death is. And in this situation, the whole body can be recycled, all organs can be donated, all tissues can be donated. And that is the concept of brain death. I do have perhaps a little animation. I don't know if it will play, but let me try. No? Can you help me? This is important for you to understand, because yes, I think it's playing. It's playing. Just can you give me some sound, please? So you see this brain, getting blood supply.
Head injury can cause internal bleeding and raise the pressure inside the skull. This results in blood supply to the brain tissues being cut off. Without the brain, rest of the body cannot survive. The organs stop working soon after the brain dies. When the brain dies, the person is dead.
So this is what brain death is, that the heart and lungs are kept going, especially in ICU, but the brain is gone. So we get a window period of about 48 hours in which we can actually counsel the family, and if the family says yes to donation, then organ donation is done, and then the recipients who require the organs are called for a transplant. And this is why we were talking about donor card, donations and so on. What happens is, if you understand the concept beforehand, if you're pre-sensitized to the cause of organ donation, if you know what brain death is, then taking a decision to donate is easier. So what does a donor card do? The donor card is just a bridge. It's just a medium of expression of your desire to donate, and to tell your relatives, to tell your loved ones that if you die, whether it's natural death, when you donate your tissues, or brain death, you'd like to donate your organs. And that's what a donor card does. And as Amit was saying, that later on perhaps some of you can sign if you are interested and pledge your organs so that somebody can live after death. Now, coming to West Bengal, I have read Rabindranath Tagore, so I'm tempted to quote from him what he said, which also applies to organ donation. He said, "Death is not extinguishing the light, but putting out the lamp because the dawn has come." And organ donation is about that new dawn. So, believe in organ donation and continue to live afterwards to extend your life so that somebody else can continue to live with your organs. You saw some wonderful videos which Amit showed earlier on, and they were great examples of organ donation, especially the heart video which he showed. So this is what brain death is. Please understand. And if you have any doubts at this stage, I can clarify. Keep it very informal. Ask questions. Feel free.
We
if
are
you don't
having
mind,
an
Amit.
interactive session just after
Okay,
this.
sure. But sometimes, spontaneously they ask,
Yeah.
they clarify their doubt, and they're done with. So when we passed this law in India in 1995, people thought that brain death concept will not be understood, it will not work in India, we're multicultural, multi-religious, nobody will believe in it, nobody will say yes to donation. Very true. So this is when way back in 97, we formed, I was involved in the formation of this organization called MOHAN, which stands for Multi-Organ Harvesting Aid Network. And second from right, perhaps, you can see me, a little young, of course, aged a little bit with this program. And we formed MOHAN Foundation to promote this concept of disease donation and organ donation. And in Tamil Nadu, it all started way back in 95. And in 1999, we did a function for donor families where we honored the donor families in a college called Loyola College. And we planted some saplings in the memory of organ donors. And I was very surprised that when we did this function, we didn't know what to expect. And we had more than 65 family members who turned up for the function, including one family from US who had donated the organs of their mother who had died in a road traffic accident in Chennai. And they turned up from all the way from US. So this was a very moving function. And at the end of this function, we realized that it is just not creating awareness that is enough for this cause of organ donation, but we need to start looking at organ sharing in this country so that organs are not wasted. And this is when we set up the organ sharing network in Tamil Nadu, way back in 1999, year 2000. And in 8 years, we shared almost 852 organs, both in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh, where this NGO, MOHAN Foundation, started working in the cause of organ donation. So things have started happening. Organ sharing has started happening between hospitals. A model had been started, way back in 2000, that that organ sharing is possible within hospitals and organs should not be wasted. Today, we have at least 7 states in the country which have an organ sharing network, which includes Tamil Nadu, of course, which started first, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Rajasthan. This is just a two-year-old kind of organization we started in Rajasthan, where we help them. And these are various bodies of these organizations of organ sharing network in the country. This is Tamil Nadu. This is the organ sharing registry homepage. It has information related to Tamil Nadu. And from 2008, the government became a stakeholder in this program, And they took over this program from us as an NGO when we were doing it till 2008. The government stepped in, and more hospitals came into the network. We were networking with about 6 hospitals in Tamil Nadu. When the government came in, 30 hospitals got networked immediately. And in 8 years in Tamil Nadu, we have had 887 donors, from whom we have shared over 1,600 kidneys, almost 800 livers, almost 250 hearts, and so on. Many, many organs. So Tamil Nadu is a success story that way, as far as showing the way is concerned. But of course, as Vivek said, we need to grow, and we need to build, a more robust system so that more donations can happen. When we started, there were only, as the program has grown, the number of hospitals have grown who are doing transplants. When we started, there were only 30 hospitals in the network. Today, in 2016, we have 80 hospitals in Tamil Nadu that has kidney transplant license. We have 25 hospitals that have liver transplant license, 23 which has, heart transplant license. So Tamil Nadu as a transplant hub has really grown. This is Kerala. Kerala has a network for organ sharing. We started this network in August 2012, and they followed exactly the same model as Tamil Nadu. And as MOHAN Foundation, we went and helped them in putting up their registry, putting some systems in place, along with our government officials from Tamil Nadu. And in just 4 years, from 2012 to 2016, they've had 241 donors. And organs shared have been, with 29 transplant hospitals, they have shared over 187, about 413 kidneys and about 187 livers, about 43 hearts, and so on. Why I'm showing you all this? I'm just trying to show you examples that if you make a start, West Bengal also can do it. This is Telangana. They have a program called Jeevan Daan. There again, in last 3 to 4 years, they have had more than 272 donors, and they have also shared the equal number of kidneys, heart, lungs, and livers. And this is Rajasthan. Started in December 2014. They started their network for organ sharing. And in this time, when we started, there were only 6 hospitals, and now there are 10 hospitals in the program, and they have shared almost 49 organs from almost 14 donors. So they have an organ sharing network as well. They have not done only kidney transplants from this program, but they have also done heart and liver transplants. And I'm sure West Bengal is much ahead in medical field than Rajasthan is. And that's why I said that I'll also challenge you in this room, that you can do it as West Bengal. I don't know why you have not done it so far. I just want you to believe that you can do it. That's the first step you need to take. Only then you can move forward. Karnataka is there. They have an organ sharing network. So it is with Maharashtra. After Tamil Nadu, I think Maharashtra does the maximum number of donations. How do the organ sharing takes place? In 2 states like Karnataka and Maharashtra, the system is a little different. Kidneys are shared. 1 kidney is kept in the hospital. The other kidney goes to common pool, and they have a point system of sharing. The liver and heart are done by rotation. And so, but in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Kerala, Rajasthan, we follow a very simple system where 1 kidney remains in the hospital, the other kidney goes to the common pool, and then it goes to the allocation is done according to the criteria of the patient who is longest on the waiting list, who has started dialysis. And the liver, heart, and lungs and the other organs go by rotation from the hospital A, B, C, D, E, and so on. There are a lot of advantages of organ sharing, having a state waiting list, because organ allocation becomes transparent, organ donation is equitable so that all hospitals gain. In at least Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Rajasthan, the government hospitals get more kidneys from private hospitals. In this program, the problem is most of the donors today are in the government hospitals, and most of the recipients are in the private hospitals. So we cannot create a system where organs flow out from government hospital and go into private hospital. Then we'll lose the trust of the community. The way it works is, so we have built a program in such a way that when there is a donation, the government hospital benefits a little more than private hospital, and that's why in these states the kidneys have not gone to private hospitals but have gone more to the government hospitals. This is very important when you build something similar in West Bengal. And these are the figures for last year. It's a busy slide, but many states are today on bandwagon of organ donation, and I hope West Bengal also joins the bandwagon soon and start doing donations. What is interesting to note also is from 2012 to 2015, the disease donation rate has increased. If you see the green bar, that shows the donors. What was about 190 odd donors in 2012, last year, 2015, we had close to 550 donors, which resulted in many kidneys, almost 1,000 kidneys, and many livers and hearts and so on. So the national disease donation rate has increased 3 times in the last 3 years, which is in the last 4 years, which is very heartening to note. And if we continue to do this rate of growth, then at least some organ donation will be generated, and we will see some light in this program. I just want to also show you, perhaps if I have the time, how am I doing for time, Amit? Am I okay for time, or am I, you told me half an hour, so yeah. I'll try and see if I can show you a small video of how we did this program as an NGO in Tamil Nadu. Can you give me sound, please? This is a 5-minute video. It won't take too long.
A 4-letter word with a million facets. To be alive, to feel the raindrops on your cheek, to feel the soft grass beneath your feet and the gentle morning sun on your face. These are the wonderful joys that God has given us. Yet some of us are unfortunately denied these pleasures when our organs fail. To help patients with organ failure get a renewed lease of life, MOHAN Foundation, Multi-Organ Harvesting Aid Network, was started by Dr. Sunil Shroff in 1997 at Chennai. The deceased organ donors and their families are the real heroes of this effort. They have given the greatest gift of all, the gift of life, at the most tragic of moments. Public education is the key to creating a positive attitude about organ donation. MOHAN Foundation has left no stone unturned in enlightening the people about the need for organ donation. Thousands of brochures and donor cards have been distributed. Presentations have been made in hospitals, colleges, clubs and corporate sectors in order to sensitize the public about organ donation. The foundation has now grown to a stage where people have begun inviting them to be a part of their birthdays, anniversaries and similar celebrations. People pledge to donate their organs on their special day. Short films in English and Telugu were released by Sri Chinnajiyar Swamiji and cricketer VVS Lakshman in October 2012 in Hyderabad. The most important aspect of organ donation is communicating the idea that donation is possible. When a family loses a loved one, trained personnel are needed to gently explain to the grieving family that organ donation can save the lives of many others. MOHAN Foundation has extensive programs across India which train transplant coordinators who are capable of broaching the subject of organ donation with sensitivity and clarity. 494 transplant coordinators have been trained in different cities across India from December 2009 till December 2013. Every year, very successful annual workshops are conducted for the trained transplant coordinators. The media has always been very supportive about the cause of organ donation and has done everything in its power to support MOHAN Foundation. The donor-centric stories carried by the media capture the generosity of the donor families and send a powerful message about organ donation to the public. Prominent personalities like Mrs. Sheila Dikshit, Kiran Rao, Ravina Tandon, Madhavan, Jayasudha, Amala Akkineni, VVS Lakshman, renowned director Rajamouli, and many others have wholeheartedly endorsed organ donation. MOHAN Foundation initiated organ sharing through the Indian Network for Organ Sharing in the year 2000. From 2000 to 2012, MOHAN Foundation has facilitated the retrieval of over 3,500 organs and tissues from deceased organ donors across India.
जब से मेरी किडनी चली है, मैं दौड़ रहा सकता हूँ, खेल सकता हूँ, स्कूल जा सकता हूँ, अपने दोस्तों के संग खेल सकता हूँ। जितने भी मुझे किडनी दी है, वो मेरा हीरो है।
Support the deceased organ donation program in India.
So, I mean, a lot of work has gone into making all this happen to have come so far. And I think, in Kolkata too, we need to do a lot of public awareness. We need to get the community together. I'm going to jump these slides because the video played, so you got all the sense of what I was going to tell you about what we've done, because sometimes the videos don't play, so I just put some slides together as well. We do have a toll-free helpline number. We do get support from the police and media. We have set up green corridors not only within the city but across cities as well. We had a green corridor set up from Jaipur to Delhi not too long back. So the police is very supportive, because when they do something like green corridor, they get a lot of positive publicity as well. Most of the time they get a lot of flack for doing things, but with this they do get a lot of publicity. So they also are very, very supportive of the green corridors. And we are very, and it helps us as well, because many of these cases are medical legal cases as well. But the transplant coordinators are the main people who are the foot soldiers of this program, because when transplant is happening, they are the ones on the ground coordinating a lot of efforts with the families, with the recipients, with the, for the police, with the forensics, and so on. So they play the key role. And this is where we have done capacity building in many, many hospitals across the country. And we have a structured course for the transplant coordinators, where we teach them medical aspects, legal aspects, ethical aspects, grief counseling. And some of you here perhaps can also take up the course. The video which I played is almost 3 years old, and now we have trained over 1,200 coordinators across the country, including Dhaka. 2 years back we went to Dhaka, and they want to start a disease donation program as well. And I'll just give you an example of how this movement has moved forward with these trained transplant coordinators who are there in the ICUs. This is a government general hospital in Tamil Nadu. In 2009, we signed a memorandum of understanding to provide free counseling services for disease donation in the hospital. And see what happened in this pilot project. We had 170 brain deaths in 4 years, which were identified, which are certified, and 113 families said yes to donation. Almost a